Hello, welcome back. Again, my name is Fritz, and this is our second video in creating our first Unreal Engine scene. Last time I left you off right here with opening up Unreal Engine, and we're in the third person, so this is the scene that we have. If you're pick the first person, your scene is going to look a little bit different than this, but it's kind of the same idea. You have these walls, you have a floor, you are either the character or you have a character down here. And then there's some sort of obstacles inside the scene. If you hit play up here and click into the scene with your mouse, WASD moves you around, so do the arrow keys, spacebar, you can jump, and that's pretty much what you can do there. And then once you're done, you hit escape and it resets the scene, and now you can move your mouse around again. This is the viewport, the center area where the game's at. Then we have all of these different screens around the outside of our Unreal Engine. Over here we have our typical file, edit, window, and help. Inside the file, your usual things, open and save and close various scenes or levels. You can also go into edit, which is your usual edit stuff. This is also where your editor preference is located, as well as your project settings and things like that. So for editor preferences, one of the things that I usually do is, because I'm usually using Maya to model in, I'm used to the middle mouse button working a certain way. Here in Unreal Engine, it works differently. So it's sort of opposite. So what I can do is go into here, into my editor preferences, type in mouse, and then right here, invert middle mouse pan. I already have it checked, but if you check this button right here, then your middle mouse button will work the exact same way as it does in Maya. It's just habit. Drives me nuts when it doesn't work that way, and so I usually set it that way. Okay, so that's a quick thing for edit. In Windows, we have this thing called cinematics. We'll get into that in some other tutorial. Some details. So for your details windows, which is this one over here, see how it says detail? We can have more of the same thing open, so we have different details for different objects opened. Your editor modes, you can have different viewports open. So if I clicked on another one of these, see how I have a second viewport. So if you go through here, you'll see that each one of these, here's your content browser, which is down here, and some other tools and things like that. We'll get into some of these later on. I'm not going to go through every button right now. I'll go through it as we move through creating our first level. Right here are modes. This is the current mode that I'm in. So if we hover over it, you can see that Unreal Engine gives you a little idea of what each one of these are. So again, this mode here is called place, and inside of place is where we can find all of the objects that we might want to place into our scene. For example, if I grab this point light, I could click and drag it and drop it right into the scene there. Okay, I'm going to undo that. Painting is just that. We can go in, we can paint and add details and weights and things. This is the one we're going to work with later on for our terrain. It allows us to manage, sculpt, and paint it. We don't have a terrain in here, so I can't click on sculpt or paint right now. Foliage allows us to sort of paint in trees and brush and grass and things. And then geometry allows us to actually do some modeling here inside of Unreal Engine. We can click on different things and we can create new objects and then model them, shape them the way we want to. We're not really going to do that much this time around. Okay, so that's the mode panel. Down here is our content browser. Content browser is where we can find all of the content that we're putting or want to use inside of our scene. Right here, you probably open it up. When you first open it up, it'll drop you here into your third person BP, which is blueprint, so third person blueprint. And if you double click here on maps, this is where you'll find this map that we're looking at right here. If we want to go all the way to the top, we can click on content, and that takes us all the way to the very top here, and we can see all of the folders that are inside of our project right now. Remember, I told you to go ahead and put in some Infinity Blade Firelands and Grasslands. You should find those folders right here. This is our mannequin. So this little guy right here is our mannequin. Our starter content, which has a lot of textures and materials, some things that we'll use a little bit later. The third person and third person blueprint, which is all part of this scene right here. And then geometry, meshes, anything that's currently in this scene or that we've created will be located in here as well. If we wanted to be able to see the hierarchy of our folders, we can click on this little button right here You'll see all of our folders listed there. That way when we get into this, so if I dug into one of these folders, I can see that right here I have still the ability to go back and jump to another folder rather quickly. Over here on the right hand side, at the top, we have our world outliner. This is everything that is currently in this world. So if I clicked on floor, for example, see how it highlights yellow here? If I clicked on wall 11, that's that wall there. So everything that's in our scene is listed here, to include our light sources, which are probably right up here above us, and our actor. So if I found our actor in here, which would be our player, and I'm missing him in there for some reason. Oh, there he is, third person character right there. And if I clicked on something that I'm not currently looking at, if I hit F on my keyboard with my mouse in here, it'll zoom to it so we can find it. To be able to move around inside the viewport, a couple different things we can do. Okay, so I can use my right mouse button, and it's basically as if I was just standing in place and I can circle around, look up and down, all over the place. Okay, my middle mouse button allows me to pan left, right, up and down. My middle mouse button, if I scroll it in, allows me to scroll in and out. And then my left mouse button allows me to look around. But if I push forward on the mouse, see how it kind of gives me this feeling of like I'm flying through it. I can move forward and backwards, so I can move around that direction. Now, up here at the top, we have our little move buttons. I'm going to click off that. If we have our little move button here, this allows us to select. This allows us to rotate, and this allows us to scale. Right now I have it moved, so I have my little gizmo here for moving. If I hover over it, it tells me exactly what that is. You also see that there's a W. So the W is my quick key for that. My quick key for rotate is E, and my quick key for scaling is R. So if I were to click E, it would go to here, and my gizmo would change, and I could actually rotate an object in the viewport. That allows me to interact with the actual objects. I can move them, I can make them bigger, and I can also rotate them. Control Z undoes all of that, so I can hit Control Z quite a few times. Up here are different settings for my move, for my rotate, and for my scale. So this first one here is move. I can set it up so it snaps to grids. I can do surface snapping, and I can also change the number of grid sizes that it actually will snap to. So right now, if I were to move, snap it to a grid, it would move at 10 units. I can go all the way down to 1. My rotation, similar. I have different distances, common, and then the divisions of 360. Over here is my scale, and I can also change the scale point there. This one right here is my camera speed. Right now, my camera speed is set to 4. What that is that inside of Unreal Engine, I can fly around as if, I can move around as if I was flying. So if I hold W down and put my left mouse button down, see it moves around. But it moves in a straight movement. If I use my right mouse button, and I'm going to slow this down because my player is really small, so I'm going to go to maybe 2 or 3. Now if I hold down the W and my right mouse button, it allows me to, and I move it really slow, fly around. So now I can fly around using my right mouse button. This is the one I usually use when I'm in this mode. When you're in the paint modes, you can't really use the left mouse button, so you have to use your right mouse button. Okay. And that's kind of how you can move around. Again, it's WASD or your arrow keys allow you to do that. So again, hold my right mouse button down. A allows me to move to the right, D to the right rather than left, and then S backwards. Okay, so that is our basic movements and our basic layout of our screen right here, of our interface with Unreal Engine. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back to my content, and what we want to do is we want to get started on creating our first level. So right here, I am going to right click in this screen right here, and I'm going to create a new folder. So you will right click up to new folder, and then down here it's highlighted in blue. I'm going to change this to maps. I'm going to type in maps. I'm going to double click on maps, and we're going to go ahead and go to file. And what we want to do is we want to have a new level. So up here at the top, Control N is our shortcut for that. So if I hit that, it's going to pop up with this window. Go ahead and pick default. and it's going to ask where it wants to save the content to, and I want to save it into this location right here. Game third person blueprints, third person example map. It wants to know where I want to save this map that I have open right now, because I made some changes in it, things I want to save it. I'm not going to save that, and what is going to happen is it's going to open this screen up right here for me. And notice I haven't actually created a level down here yet. I haven't saved it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this scene. Go to File. I'm going to save current as, and I'm going to just call this level 1. Okay, level _1. Hit enter, and now I should have inside my maps a new level 1, and it decided not to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and grab these two, hold the shift button to select them both, control button rather, sorry, and I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to drop them into my maps, and it's going to say, do I want to move here or copy here? I am going to go ahead and move it there. I want to put it in my maps. Okay, so now there it is. It's inside my maps. This is my very first level. I have this little gray platform here. We're eventually going to delete this, but I'm going to leave it there for right now. This is our player location. I can move this around, change my player location. This is a reflective orb that we're going to, so basically it's a sphere reflection capture. It captures and reflects surfaces. We'll probably delete that a little bit. Here is our skylight. This is our light source. And then we also have some atmospheric fog that came in with us. And you can see all that here in your outliner over here. Right now we have 7 actors. Everything in here is called an actor. And I have just the atmospheric fog selected. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start customizing this a little bit. We don't want to have this gray platform. I could hit play right now and my player would appear here and not much else would happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Content. I'm going to pick my Infinity Blade Grasslands, go into Environments, and I am going to go ahead and pick surface types, I believe. Nope. It was under Plains. Under Plains, and then we have Ruins, we have Organic, Flora, Floors. So this one is where you think you might go to find some of the floors we want to use, and then Static Meshes is what we would pick. There are a lot of different options in here, and we certainly could find one that would probably work pretty well. And let me see, maybe this one. So basically here is a giant floor. We could use this. I set it down on top. Take a look at this real quick. You can see through it from the bottom. So this is not a double-sided object. This would be something that we could set down, and we could certainly use it on top of another source. We could also add a collider so that our character wouldn't fall through it. But right now, this is not the one I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. We'll see that that's the case with a lot of the different floors that are in here. And we'll have to get into how to add colliders onto those, and I'll show you that in another video. But first, let's just go ahead and talk about laying out a floor. So let's find that first. So we're going to go ahead and jump back up to Plains. I think it's under Ruins, if I remember right, under Textures. Nope, it's not under Textures. What am I doing? Static Meshes. Okay, and right here, we have this small floor right here. I'm going to pull that into the scene. So you just left click on it and drag it in. And yeah, this is the one I want. And the reason I'm going to use this one is because it is a double-sided. It's already got colliders onto it. So basically you can't see through it from the bottom side. And this is something that I used in that demo, both as a floor and as a ceiling. So when you lay out your floor, you can copy these and then drag it up. So it's simple to copy these. If I just click on it, hold my Alt button, and then with my left mouse button, drag off to the side, and you can see I create a second one there. Okay, and then I can do that again. I want to make sure I get them pretty close. Right now I'm going to go ahead and delete this gray platform. I'm going to click on it and hit delete, and it's gone. This will allow me to see if I have any gaps in between, and you can see right here I do. So I want to make sure I get these gaps out of there. Just kind of butt them up against each other. But we want to be careful not to overlap them too much. If you overlap them, you're going to get this sort of strange looking flickering that's going to happen as the meshes are kind of colliding with each other, competing for the same space. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to do that right there. Now, if I hit play on my screen here, oh, my guy's almost falling off. Click in the window, put him back on there. Okay, come in here, and it's not really all that bad. Sometimes you'll get this overlap happening where you'll end up with this really bad flicker. At this point, I don't really see it, so just watch out for it. It may not happen all the time. It may be something you'll have to deal with. All right, so once I've got a few of these set up, I'm going to go ahead and click back in my window here, back out a little bit. Now, if you hold both your left and right mouse buttons together, you can also do a pan, and it's a little bit faster than using the middle mouse button. Now I'm going to select one more time, hold the Alt button, drag that out, F on my keyboard to get a bit closer so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and just put those together like that. Okay, so now once I have a general start, what I can do is I can hold my Shift button and I can select each individual one. And I can hold the Alt button and do it again. And then hold my Shift button again. Select the additional panels and now hold my Alt button. And you can see you can build a floor quite quickly this way. All right, so that's it for this video right now. What I want you to do is design a layout for your play area. You can make it as big as you want to, of course. It's more time consuming. And then what we're going to end up doing is we're going to come in here and find some other surfaces to use as walls. And there's lots of different things you can choose from inside the ruins, inside the environmental ruins. You can also take a look at the fire world and see what's inside the fire world and use some of those as well. So just let your imagination run and start building up a lot of stuff so you have a fairly large enough play area. It doesn't have to be gigantic. And that way when you hit play, your character will have some place to move around, and we can start building our walls and providing some of our detail in our next video. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like my video and follow me. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you can continue to catch all of my new videos that are coming out. I'm going to try to put these out on a regular basis. Thank you again and have a great day.